You've received your Google UX certificate, or maybe you've graduated from a UX bootcamp. What do you do next? Here are my top tips for UX certificate holders. But first, I'm Erin Essex. I am a UXer at YouTube, and I also teach UX classes at night. Tip number 1, you need to get real feedback on your case study that you made. I know, you feel like you got feedback, but maybe get a little bit more. It's really good to get fresh eyes on your case study to make sure that the storytelling is going somewhere and you have all the right pieces. I recommend if you're looking for somebody to give you feedback, you can find people within the UX community that are willing to help. Sometimes you can cold or warm message people on LinkedIn, which we'll talk about later, but you can also find groups on Discord or Slack or within your community. Speaking of storytelling, the next one is about storytelling. Yes, you need to figure out how to tell your story better. The story needs to have a beginning, middle, and end. Sounds really basic, but a lot of people don't do this. It also needs to be succinct, so you'll need to practice that story, which we'll talk about in a moment. You really want to focus your story not just on the end-to-end what you made product cut and dry, but you want to tell it. You want to give people ups and downs. You want to give them stakes. Tell them about a decision that you struggled with. Maybe how research changed your mind on the approach. Maybe a disagreement you had with somebody on your team about how you'd solve it. These little nuances actually help the hiring manager or recruiter really understand how you think more as a designer and how you come to resolutions on your ideas. One of the reasons this is important is that you want to show that you didn't just copy this work off the internet. Sadly, this is a thing that happens. This next one's a little trickier, but please try to figure out how to get a real world project. So you have your case study from your UX certificate course. Now try to find something. And not all of us have the opportunity to volunteer our time, but if you do, try to find a nonprofit or a community group, somebody that needs UX help so that you can actually showcase your skills with a real project that actually goes live. If you do not have the opportunity to work for free, which I know I don't, I would recommend that you go to that same kind of community board or a small business to try to see if you can get hired for small jobs there. This is something I did when I was trying to find work when I was first starting out in UX. I would actually go to the message board inside the co-working space that I was working at, and I would post there that I was looking for work to do, and it worked out. Having this type of work in your portfolio can be really helpful in showing real world experience to a hiring manager or recruiter. All right, this next one, I know you're probably not gonna like, but you know that phrase, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? It's practice, practice, practice. I'm sorry, but you need to practice your interview. We're all bad at it. It's okay, but you need to practice out loud, not just in your head, not just writing it down. You need to practice out loud. You need to figure out your stories, how you're going to actually structure your stories. Like I said, your storytelling should be good, but practice your stories. Beginning, middle, and end. I'm going to remind you of that. Making sure you're succinct is also really important. A lot of times in maybe your first interview, people tend to ramble. It's just a thing that happens. It's fine. But practice out loud, time yourself, see if you can get your time down the next time you practice and tell your story out loud. The other thing is find a person to tell your story to practice interviewing with. This can be somebody maybe in your UX class or community. It can be a mentor that you met online, maybe through networking. It can be through different kinds of UX community groups, or you can even pay for that service. I wouldn't recommend that, but you can. So there's lots of opportunities out there for you to practice, and please do it. Please do it. I hate this word too. But you do need to network, and I'm going to focus on digital networking because I think that's actually the best bang for your buck here. Connect with recruiters, connecting with people at the companies that you're interested in working at, or even ones that are just like close to your industry, any of that. Build up your network on LinkedIn. I specifically mentioned try to connect with recruiters. What you're trying to do here is game the system in a way. You want to figure out ways that you can show up in that right bar that's on their LinkedIn when they log in. And that can happen through you being connected to a recruiter that they know, and then suddenly you're there. So That's a little bit about digital networking. However, you may be wondering what you should do about messaging. You can cold message people. People cold message me all the time. But what I find is when you warm message someone, they are way more likely to respond to you. That means going in, finding their website, finding something they worked on, and sending them either a compliment about that work or a question about that work and how it relates to something you're working on and looking for their advice. This gives you way more likelihood that they will respond. Do they always respond? Hell no, they don't. But it's okay. You're more likely to get a response if you put in this work with a warm message. The other type of networking is the in-person networking, and you may not know, but I am a shy person. And what I used to do is I would find a friend to go with me, but sometimes I'd go by myself, and we would always tell ourselves, you cannot leave this networking event until you talk to at least 2 people. Sometimes it was just the 2 and maybe you would stay later. Sometimes it was just the 2 and the vibes were off and you would just leave. But forcing myself to do that was really helpful in building up that LinkedIn network, and you never know where these people might end up. So it's really great to network there as well. Okay, and my last tip here is optimizing your LinkedIn. So many people are not putting words in their LinkedIn. This is actually going to help you show up more in the searches that recruiters might be doing on LinkedIn or showing up in that panel that we talked about. So you're going to want to put your work experience in there with bullet points. If you have data to go with it, great. If you have keywords that go with it, put it in there. Like, pack it full of information. This is really going to help you. Yes, they can look at your resume, but why not just put it in your LinkedIn as well? It's not hurting anything. The other thing too is kind of basic, but put a real headshot of yourself. Don't put a dog. Don't have an empty headshot. I still get messages from folks that have that. It just really helps to have your real face on your LinkedIn. The other thing too is that little area below your name where you typically put your title, or that's what the original intent was for it. Game that too. Put keywords in there, put things that you are focused on or things that you're looking for. Some people just pack it full of words like innovative. Try to use that area as well to game the system and game the search on LinkedIn. Well, those are my tips. In a nutshell, the more you immerse yourself in the UX community, the more likely it is that that first job is going to work out. I hope that was helpful. I welcome any questions, and we'll see you on the next one. This is kind of giving Mama Fratelli from the Goonies. Oh God.